Non-native invasives cost us $137 billion annually. It can dominate an environment to the degree that the ephemeral flowers just don't even exist in the area. The whole food web, in the end, becomes affected.
WildOnes is a national organization, nonprofit organization that started in the late 70s by just a small group of people who were interested in the concept of natural landscaping. We're seeing a chapter really growing steadily and a definite interest in the area about native plants. So I think we found a nice niche in this community.
We have an event going on today we call the Roselle Park River Festival. Originally this was an agricultural farm, and to remove that and try and get it back to some sort of riparian river ecology, native landscape takes a few years to clean things up, get new plants in, try to remove a lot of the invasive plants. The members of WildOnes have been involved for about 3 years out at this property. They've helped with many of our volunteer work days of planting native plants. And helping design some of our micro landscape areas, the backyard habitat demonstration area and our rain gardens.
What we're trying to do through the Ada Parks volunteers is to develop a demonstration site so people can see what they can do in their own backyards to naturalize it, bring more native plants in, which will in turn bring in more butterflies and pollinators and songbirds.
This is an American kestrel. It's our most common falcon in North America. Well, if you think about the food chain, if something that produces seeds like coneflower is going to get eaten by a mouse, then they're going to be able to eat those mice. So they're connected to the plants by the things that are eating the plants.
One of our primary goals is working with schools.
I received a grant from the WildOnes called the Seeds for Education Grant, and that grant funded the second phase of a garden that we put in here in the Kentwood School District at Pinewood Middle School. The WildOnes grant allowed us to finish that garden. The idea behind the rain garden is it's a shallow depression, and it's situated in a place where water that runs off of the roof of the building or water that runs off of the paved parking areas is directed into this depression. And typically all of that water would then continue to flow into a storm drain and then right into the nearest river system. And all of the plants that are in the rain garden have really, really deep roots. Anywhere from 10 to 20 feet down they'll eventually grow. And that allows for there to be lots of spaces in the soil, and that allows for the water to percolate down into the soil and actually recharge the groundwater in that area, as opposed to just flooding the nearest stream. The students can actually go in now and they can actually do measurements and see, that the water is actually, that the groundwater is actually being recharged. And this is a perfect way for them to see that, what they're learning in school is really important and that it actually has relevance to the world.
Native plants form what we would call the base of the food web. And so the primary consumers that are native to an area are accustomed to eating these certain native plants that they've evolved with over, hundreds and thousands of years. And what happens when a non-native invasive comes in and occupies the niche that would have been occupied by the native plants, the primary consumers fail to thrive, the secondary consumers, and it just cascades through the system.
This is where we put most of our native plants, although we have mixed them around the house. But part of the reason for doing that was because of the birds and the butterflies. When I heard about WildOnes, we started going, but they are so educational. We've learned so much from going to their meetings because they have fantastic speakers that come and kind of focus in on different areas. The last meeting was a native plant producer.
Yeah.
We've made it a point of learning a little bit about where the plants come from and the nurseries, and we sort of count on them for their recommendations pretty much.
We've gone around the state just to find different plants, and what we found is through WildOnes and that you find these resources that people that really do a good job of what what they're into. And so we travel to find plants and bring them back. So
The people that are at Wild Ones are so well informed. Ruth Oldenburg that has a prairie, I mean, she came and helped me identify some of my things because I didn't remember what I'd put in where. So it's the people that make up Wild Ones that give you this wide source of information. I mean, they're right there with knowledge at their fingertips. So it's great. They also are very involved in some educational kinds of things with schools and different organizations. I mean, we have to show our kids these things because all of a sudden we're just going to have urban landscapes with no native plants in them.